Welcome, everyone, to Junior Grand Prix week number 2 here in Linz, Austria, and the final day of competition. Now, yesterday we crowned champions in the pairs with Martina Ariana Kent and Charlie La Liberté Laurent of Canada capturing their first Junior Grand Prix title in less than a year of working together. Quite an accomplishment. In women, Giacini of Korea won both the short and free and won the event by over 30 points. Her brilliant skating and charming personality captured the audience and the judges as she takes home the gold. Well, today we start with the free dance event. Daria Grimm and Michael Savitsky of Germany have a healthy 6-point lead over the competition, but only 3 points separate second from seventh. So it's ever so close, and anything can happen. 16 teams from 13 nations take to the ice for the free dance final, which starts right now. Welcome, everyone, to Linz, Austria. Final day of competition here. What a beautiful flyover of the ice facility. Just yards, really 100 yards away from the Danube River Junior Ice Dance. The free dance coming up in just a few moments as we now enter the arena live. And I invite my colleague in crime, Mark Hanratty, from his studio in Nottingham. Mark, welcome back.
Hi Ted, I hope all is well in Linz. I am excited to be joining you remotely and eager to see what's going to happen in this ice dance event.
I have to tell you, Mark, I was watching the practice session this morning as we take a look at the first group taking to the ice for their warm-up. And there is a look at the officials for this event. We thank them for all the time and dedication they have spent, not just in this competition, but their whole life to get here to officiate international competitions. But Mark, as I was saying, the practice sessions this morning in the last group, unbelievable. Wonderful, wonderful ice dancers, but the variety of programs and the depth of performance is, really extraordinary. Just standing at the corner, at the side of the rink, I think you're going to love these programs that we're going to see a little bit later, of course, in this event. As we take a look at the start order for the free dance.
And it'll be interesting to see what choices that the teams use. Obviously, 80s rhythm dance yesterday, and now a bit of a free rein. The only caveat that couples must have an audible and rhythmic beat throughout the music chosen. So other than that, pretty free rein.
Yeah, and I'm just going to look here. Let's start over here. We will have 7 elements in this program, and you're going to have a lift or a combination, a lift, 2 lifts or a combination of lifts. A set of the twizzles, that's the big element, which is difficult. I have to tell you this funny story. I was talking to the coach, Nazarov, who, the family. Oh, yeah. Okay. And one of their sons switched into ice dance, right? Okay. And he is now training in Oberstdorf. And he was always sort of not critical of ice dance. He said, wow, that's so hard to do jumps and this or that. And now he's an ice dancer, and he phoned his mom and he said, whoa, Mom, you won't believe what we were doing on the lift was so difficult. It was incredible. All of a sudden, because this all looks great, but ice dance is extremely difficult. Do not let the beautiful costumes, the wonderful performance, the terrific music fool you that this is not an incredibly difficult and technical sport, because it is.
Absolutely. And competition fuels everybody to demand more from themselves. So as you say, whilst it may look effortless, and that's the objective of all, the fact that we have so many brilliant teams, both on juniors and at the senior world stage, that's making the competition forces everybody to demand more from themselves. So whilst that might look easy, everybody's pushing for more speed, more ice coverage, more quality of position, more depth of edge. So it's a never-ending task the ice dancers to improve upon.
And, the top dancers always live on the edge of disaster, not over the edge, but very close to it, because they've got to have the deepest edges, the most speed, and the risk is you lose your edge and you slip off. But if you don't go to that level, then you're safe, and it's nice, but it's not the best. You have to push it.
Great to see that straight line lift. Great to see originality. And talking about pushing it, Ted, one of the challenges for the teams is not just to go for level 4 and all their elements, but to then be able to find creativity within that. And that was cool to see in this first group, something that I've not seen before from the Austrian team, who will be, I think, first to compete.
Yeah. And as we mentioned, we'll see different levels stages of development in all of these teams. The early groups, the first group here, you probably won't see quite as much speed and depth of edge. They may not have had as much time in the partnership or in training, and that's okay. That's the great thing about juniors. more in the seniors, you're going to see pretty much a level playing field. They're all very good skaters, no question, but there'll be small differences, but a little bit larger differences here in the juniors.
And as we look at the Brazilian team, great celebration for them to have achieved the minimum technical element score for Junior Worlds in that a huge coup for them, and that now, because of the freedance score that they've already attained, they can now go on to become Brazilian ice dancers at Junior World Championships next March.
And that's why they were so thrilled in the kiss and cry.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we had a great audience here yesterday. You never saw the size of that. It was behind the judges. The stands were pretty full. And, of course, we're always looking out where the cameras are. You're looking out across the rink. But there was an enthusiastic audience watching all three entries of the Austrian women compete last night. And a lot of energy in the building. So that was pretty exciting. It's a little bit more sparse today. It's a beautiful weekend here. People are out on the grass and the swimming, and they're running along the Danube.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty special. It's a very special place. It's very calm, at least on the outside of this building.
No, when the ice dancers get on.
yeah, exactly. And as we see,
it's the challenge probably, Ted, for the athletes that we see now is that not so much for the Austrians, who are obviously at home or close to home, for the athletes that have travelled from around the globe to be here, the desire to stop longer and experience some of the sights versus the need to get back to their respective training rinks to prepare for the next event.
Exactly. And here we go. The skaters asked to leave the ice except for the first team, and there they are. Their hometown favorites, of course. Representing Austria. Always an exciting moment to skate in front of your friends and family. Exciting, but also maybe a little pressure. From Austria, Elizabeth is 15, Leo is 18, and this is their first event, their 16th after the rhythm dance, pardon me. And here we go.
And a choreographic hydroglide move to finish the program. That a new element for the ice dancers to choose from, as we see the Austrians supporting them ringside. And I think that's a good start, Ted. If that's the couple that find themselves at the bottom of the pile after the rhythm dance, if we're going to more performances stronger than that, then that's testament to the depth of the field here.
Yeah, and I think that you can clearly see the plan of this team as they are at their stage of development, not to rush this too much, not to try to go for too many things too difficult. Keep it simple, but keep it clean. And I think they did a really nice job of that in this program as we take a look at the straight line lift.
See that combination of turns at the end, all the features being worked to get to level 4. Here the 1 foot, so forward inside rocker into a backwards inside counter, forward inside bracket, and finish with a twizzle. 4 turns to be done. If they're cleanly achieved, it'll be level 4 for both, as will be the case for many. Just at level 1 assigned, the twizzle the easiest to get called. A little too close to the twizzles here. Good extension with the free foot. As for the Group C twizzle at the end, mindful awareness of their free legs, and good match here through the choreo step sequence, that one of the most commonly chosen choreo elements for the ice dancers. Opportunity to sell the storyline. This is the WE soundtrack, the Wallace and Edward movie soundtrack, so we've got a theme to work with as we see the split rotational. That coming in just at level 3, so 1 feature not established. And this, the choreo hydroglide, well done, Ted, capturing that. A new element that the dancers can choose from. There's 7 different types of choreographic elements they can choose from, and 2 have to be chosen for the juniors in the free dance this season.
You're most welcome, Mark. I want to take care of your replay descriptions and make sure that I've got a little feature that you're looking for. So it's awesome.
I'm scared for next week when it's my turn.
Oh yeah, you got to be pushing their buttons there, buddy. I'm going to be like 8,000 kilometers away saying, what is he doing? I need that replay. No pressure at all. Maybe slightly. That's okay. I'm going to enjoy being at home. I can go out for a cup of coffee on a break. Right?
Yeah. Oh, I wonder how cold that rink will be. I gather that you're toasty, nice and toasty there.
Yeah, it's very warm here. Because in our studio we have all the machines, right? So no matter how cold it is out there, it warms up the room. And I think this team, that's interesting, is I think they really enjoy this process. They want to be better, They're just slowly learning all the skills and making sure they do it with quality at the stage of development they're at. And that's just perfect strategy by skaters and coach. And I think next time out, next year, you'll see them moving much faster, a little bit more aggressive, all that type of thing. And as we take a look at the scores, 55.62 for the free dance, first team out in the event. And the total competition score of 95.44 for Elizabeth and Leo from Austria. Well, the next team comes from Finland. 17-year-old Hilda Taylor, 20-year-old Nolan Hickey. He was born in Brampton in Canada. They're coached by Neil Brown, Matthew Dolman. 15th after the rhythm dance. They need a 54.46 to take the lead as they will skate to Carry You and How to Shine and Fly by Carl Hugo.
A nice emotive storytelling to conclude the free dance for Hilda, Taylor and Nolan Hickey. And this a new team, Ted. And I thought at the beginning particularly you could see more comfortable, I think, in this than in the rhythm dance for their style.
Yeah, no question. They're just gaining experience together, and you see a little bit more comfortable level starting the program. Of course, a bit of a mistake on the twizzles, just a level 1 and 2, but other than that, overall, gaining confidence, gaining experience. Let's take a look at some of the elements in the free dance. These are these choreographic steps right off the top, a little bit of a storytelling, of course.
But at this juncture, I just thought they looked so much more comfortable than perhaps in the rhythm dance. Great expression. That was great. They choosing to do a new feature this year, the jump entry that will get a level this year into the stationary lift. And this was gorgeous. Again, another feature with the arch of her back, but she did it so beautifully. Hilda here. Really nice range in her flexibility. The element that had the biggest mistake.
First set looked pretty strong. Problems come right in here. Right there, just losing the balance. Yeah.
And as you see the choreographic lift that concluded the program, just interesting again to see the dynamic as well. I remember Hilda last year with a different partner. Now this new partnership, Nolan, he was skating for Skate Canada before last year, and so there'll be so many cultural differences as well as the new training partnership, and so this with time will just grow and develop more and more.
We can't emphasize enough let alone the technical part of the sport and of this discipline, the time it takes for two people to get to know each other and to trust each other, to know where they are all the time. That is simply hundreds of hours of training, and that's not something you can really teach. It's something you have to just do. And this is a young team, really. It's only been together for a very short while.
And they're in good hands, working in Canada and in Finland, and Neil Brown there. A great team in Finland.
Well, 57.95 for Hilda and Nolan. That is first in the free dance with a total competition score of 98.94. That will also put them first, second team out in this event. Well, from Brazil, Katrina and Tio and Kaden Oliver Dawson. Both are 17 years old, 13th after the rhythm dance. And 70.83 personal best from last season on the Junior Grand Prix. And they'll skate to a medley of Elvis Presley.
Well, it was Dirty Dancing last year and Elvis Presley medley this year for Katrina and Kaden Oliver Dawson representing Brazil.
And you can really see the improvement in the basic skating skills, Mark, from last season. Much more comfortable and confident just throughout the program. It's some pretty good transitions into and out of some of the elements.
Yeah, and increasingly united as a team. And I think this is the first team that we may have seen so far that is in a second or third season together. I think the COVID pandemic prevented them from competing earlier on, but certainly we saw them last year. And Carol Lane, so experienced, greets them as they come off the ice. Here, straight line left, clean, full split by Katrina. The 1-foot exit, another feature, straight back into characterization. And choosing this Elvis Presley medley, they just embrace the style, as they did last year with the Dirty Dancing, like I say. Here as we see with the rotation lift, getting that level 4, the ice coverage, still something that can be developed. As to the depth of edge, the amount of ice coverage through the 1-foot turns that we see now, improved on last year, and that's still something that I'm sure they'll use in their training environment. They'll see some of the best in the world in their rank and be motivated to demand that from themselves too. Here, character step. And the pull through is leading into the twizzles. And this team will be so elated to have achieved that minimum technical element score for Junior Worlds in the rhythm dance yesterday. They'd already got the free dance, so that wasn't an objective necessarily today. And there, the choreo slide that I've seen them post on their social media. Everybody loves a choreo slide, just not your knees.
Yeah, no, I don't know how they do it really. Some people have sensitive knees, but it's unbelievable how much is being done on the knees now. And it does really add a nice dimension to the program, some creativity as well, and a little bit of risk.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so great with the Iceland Technical Committee, offering so many different choreographic options, 7 different options, and that gives us so much entertainment from all the teams.
Now, not being a dance coach, of course, I sort of congratulate the technical committee in ice dance for some of the changes they're trying to make. Now, some of the coaches may agree or disagree with that, but I kind of like the menu of options that a dance team has to display not just technically what they can do, but also that technical work within the creativity. And I think we've seen some pretty interesting moves.
And year upon year, the skaters, the dancers are given, and the choreographers are given more opportunities, different options. So I think the Ice Dance Technical Committee worked really hard throughout the season and in the off-season to give opportunity for creativity as much as is possible.
Yeah. And, it is...
Whilst,
go ahead.
I was just saying, whilst also, of course, fundamental skating skills need to be honed as a priority above all.
Oh, yeah, and I think everybody sees that, knows that, and works at that. It takes time, of course, but at least from a viewer's perspective and from judges, the menu of options they have to create something special is larger and more entertaining. 66.10 for Katrina and Kaden. That'll put them first in the free dance. Total competition score of 108.94. That'll put them in first place overall at this point in the competition. Our next team comes from China. Juntong Li and Xingkang Wang, 16 and 19 years of age. They need a 66.15 to take the lead.
Well, much stronger performance for Zhuang Tong Li and Jinkang Wang from China as their training mates cheer ringside.
I find that performance really mystical and exotic. I think they had some stumbles at the beginning. We'll see that in some of the replays. And I thought, whoa, it was a little bit off balance. But then they settled down, and it was kind of mesmerizing in many ways. Interesting piece of music, wonderful costumes as well, and much better performance throughout the rest of the program.
And even that mystic, that attention to detail right through to their courtesy and bow at the end of the performance. And it's interesting because they had that torrid fall in the rhythm dance on the rotational lift, and I thought that the first element was stationary lift and rotational lift again, and you could sense a bit of that anxiety perhaps because of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, not comfortable. They're not comfortable yet with that lift. We'll take a look at that right off the top. You can see a loss of balance right there. Okay, this is okay. And standing up and trying to push to cover the ice. There's some speed. Nadia Bachitska and Peter Beaumont from last year had an incredible stationary lift to rotational lift combination. And you can see that. I must have done that twice. You can see that. You can see that bobble.
And I suppose in many respects it was good that that was the first planned element. And here in this position, interesting, it's not necessarily a gorgeous position, but you could see an attention to storytelling in the way that she moved her arms. So not a little bit understated, subtle in the commitment to the storytelling.
But I think their theme of the dance and their approach to this was right. I mean, they may not be the most seasoned skaters yet, but they brought something special into this performance. And as their skating skills get stronger, it's going to be pretty strong. There's that sliding move. Thought you'd like that, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Ted. Nicely played. And even the slide somewhat creative. Even the transition they used within the twizzles as well, not choosing the simplest. Even this in the dance spin, that combination of difficult features and the way in which they're interconnected, there are much simpler, easier ways to get a level 4. So they did go for easy. There's a team and a coaching staff who obviously has aspirations of high expectations. It's a great chance to look back at the choreo character step sequence, and you can see why so many teams choose to use this as one of the choreographic elements. So much storytelling, so much creativity can be exploited throughout this.
And just from a television or streaming perspective, it's just awesome. They're coming right at the camera, right into the living room. Always love that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite elements as we see the ending. Nice job. And
nice to see also, happier skaters after yesterday's disappointment.
Well, 75.75, that's first in the free dance. Total competition score of 118.55, and they take over the lead at the stage of the competition. It's going to be fun to watch this team continue to get stronger and develop in their creative approaches. As we will get introduced to group number 2, stepping onto the ice right now for their warm-up. And there they are.
You can see the first 2 teams to compete in this group, the Belgians and the Swiss team. They 42 points also, same as to the teams in the group we've just watched. So it's really tight after the rhythm dance, and I think that the Chinese team put a bit of pressure in terms of result on those that are competing in this group.
So, Mark, we were talking about the decision the technical committee have made to try to enhance the sport. Is there anything, if you were king for the day, which you usually are, if you're king for the day, what would you make any changes in the list of elements, or anything specific that you would change to to enhance or broaden the experience of the viewer?
Wow. Gosh, I wish you'd preempt me for that one. That's an amazing question. It's a really great question, and one that I suppose needs such a consideration from our sport as an Olympic sport. We want to, as you say, increase the enjoyment for the viewer, attract as many viewers as possible. And I think that's the rationale behind these choreographic elements in dance, to create different types of movement that you would normally expect or assume in ice dance. That's why the slide has kind of revolutionized both choreo in this discipline and in the single skating. We talked about it when we were watching the singles and the pairs. They do that now too. The more elements like that the Ice Dance Technical Committee can insert that are unique and expand this medium, the better. Oopsies, I'm mistaken there. So yeah, gosh, I wonder.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. I get what you said. That was really good. You didn't answer the question. What would you?
I know.
You're walking around in circles chasing your tail here. So I'm just kidding.
So true.
Would there
so
be?
True.
Would there be something? I mean, just off the top of your head. I mean, is there anything, or do you think it's perfect the way it is?
I wonder whether or not I would then try and explore more options like the slide. Maybe more use of hands, more use of maybe, or not borderline acrobatic, but more use of the body in an element, and so a bit more free reign. I know that there are some illegal elements. For instance, an upside down split in a lift is deemed illegal by the Ice Dance Technical Committee, and they have the reasons and the rationale for that. But things like, I don't know, like using crazy stuff like Gary Beacom, using your hands to slide, sliding on your head, being allowed to be, really out of the box.
Yeah.
And open up the opportunities. So yeah, hey, let's have everybody sliding about in their hands and their head next year. That's what Mark says.
Okay. So, okay, I squeezed that answer out of you and you're going,
I don't know if it's right. What have I just said?
Yeah, but I think everything's moving in the right direction. It's so entertaining to watch. Ice Dance, love it. And as I told the story before, it just looks so nice. It looks beautiful, but it's really hard to do. And it's hard to do well. I mean, you may be able to do some of these elements, but to do them seamlessly, like the seniors do it, is just, it's just incredible.
And, maybe, Ted, I remember there have been seasons in the past, actually one of the last year that I competed, where there was something from the Ice Dance Technical Committee where they suggested it should be uplifting, and the free dance choices should be some uplifting. I remember 1994 Olympics, the ice dancers in the free dance were then pushed to be dancey, so you were seeing a bit more tap dance, ballroom, and it was a bit more akin to what you'd seen of a kind of a dance medium on the floor. These pushes, what I think would be great is if sometimes occasionally we'll see a team go really creative, really non-conventional. I almost wonder if there's any potential to really support that, because especially when you see it in juniors or skaters that maybe aren't the highest caliber skating skill, then it doesn't necessarily get rewarded. And so for me, anybody that's got bravery to pursue something different, they should be perhaps a little bit more push for that.
Well, one of the, as they're eating their donuts or something, I'm not sure. But as one of the things I've always wanted was the story to be told. If they have a story, I would love the audience to know what that is, or just give a statement of that, because it engages you in the internal performance, and you get to watch that. And sometimes you look at it, you go, well, it was really nice, but I'm not sure what that was about. So I always felt that some sort of indication about what the thought process was in the music they picked and the choreography they've designed as to what they're trying to create. Because for the general audience, they say, it's really good, but I don't know what it is, right? And I always felt that that would be helpful. But whatever. Okay. Okay.
Well, that's why they need to touch base with us, Ted. They need to send us their stories.
God, no. That was time filler for that warm-up, and now we enter group number 2 in the free dance here in Linz. But it's a good discussion, interesting. Love to know people's thoughts. Our next team comes from Belgium. 14-year-old Sophia Vesnikova and 16-year-old Max Arkady Burovich-Lelou. 11th after the rhythm dance. 75.61. They'll need that to take the lead as they skate to Notre Dame de Paris.
Wonderful choreographic slide to finish the program for Sofia Beznosikova and Max Arkady Brunovic-Lilou from Belgium.
A powerful music and some really nice moves. Or love the choreo steps. I mean, the judges just at the end and the sliding moves, really nice. And we just get caught up in the performance. It's what I enjoy the most. And then we have to pick apart, the sport part of it as well. So, it's so easy. There are 4 elements, pardon me, under review. Take a little bit. Let's take a look at some of those elements in the program here. Now, this is only in the level 1 at the moment. Oh, no, it moved up to 4. Yeah, there you go.
Reviewed. The difficult position for Sophia has to be established for 3 seconds in that layback.
And this is in also at a level 4 for the rotational lift.
This was really cool. I thought that the use of the transition between the first and the second twizzles really well done. This is the step that you love so much, Ted, as well.
Yeah, I didn't catch all the twizzles there. Sorry about that. Our replays were running a little bit too long, so I'm sorry to chop things up a little bit. Keep the time going.
Given the nod. And I think that you can, to me again, you can see this team more comfortable in the free dance than in the rhythm dance, as we see this great choreo slide at the end. And the rhythm dance with the rocker foxtrot that we saw yesterday does tend to tighten up the teams a little bit more. There can be a bit more openness within the hold and the free dance as they're joined by their coach Lazaveta Nemtseva. And she has, I've seen on their social media, she takes them to various different locations. They've trained with lots of other coaches and she's backing and supporting them all the way. And great to see a young coach who has the confidence to take her students elsewhere for extra information for both them and she.
And that is such a good message. It's true. Like, if you're doing the best for your athlete, then get them what they need, no matter whether that's going with another coach or to a seminar or whatever the case may be. Good for her.
Yeah, I really admire that in a coach. And she obviously has aspirations for the ability to produce elite skaters herself, and she's outsourcing information from the likes of Igor Spielban, Pasquale Carmalengo, Matteo Zani, Barbara, lots of great coaches working with them.
How smart is that? Go to those that have the experience, ask them the questions, and the coaches are amazing. They're very helpful for other young coaches coming up, and so there's great support within the coaching community. Let's take a look at the scores for Sophia and Max. Free program score is 69.83. That's second in the free dance. And so far, with the total competition score of 112.78, and that'll put Sophia and Max currently overall into second place at this stage of the competition. Our next team comes from Switzerland, 18-year-old male Letterman and 19-year-old Antonin Emo. 12th up for the ribbon dance. They're coached and choreographed by Barbara Piton.
Another new team by Letterman and Emo from Switzerland, and they, like some of the others, will be really keen to secure that Junior World's minimum tech score. They just narrowly missed out by less than half a point in the rhythm dance. That'll be a big coup for them if they can get it.
And it's interesting, they're quite a tall couple, but have beautiful long lines. And you can see them use that space as they reached up and stood up straight. And their choreography is designed to strategically use those long lines. That was well done. Here's a look at the twizzles.
They have a senior look about them. Well, to say how little time they've been together, well matched. You can barely see Mael behind Antonin and the twizzles there from the angle of the judges. Difficult entry into straight line lift. That's forcing the judges to give good grade of execution. Wasn't sure about the character step in regards to the placement on the ice. I was a bit concerned that they deviated too far from Smith. But it's gone in, so no doubt from the tech panel. And this, the stationary lift, which is coming in just at level 2. Not sure if the difficult features were retained or established, but I think certainly a team that should attain that 38 points for the minimum technical element score for Junior Worlds. They were, like I say, 4/10 of a point up in the rhythm dance, but looking much stronger here.
Well, you can tell that there's still a young developing team. There's still lots of work to do on skating skills, power and speed, and ice coverage and whatnot, and just comfort. I mean, although they did a good job with where they're at, they still need to get a little comfortable with the couple and, you know, within the program. But certainly, look at how straight they're sitting. So they have wonderful backs, great posture, good lines, lots of good stuff to work with.
Yeah, and if you go with kind of stereotypical ideal, they've got a great height match as well. Limb lengths are good, so if you go kind of really archaic, kind of what would be optimal, then they've got a great starting point aesthetically.
What did you say about archaic? What do you mean archaic?
Well, it's like the old ice dance.
The old ice dance. Okay, there you go.
I mean, and you know, we've got so many teams in the world now that dispel that idea of, you know, you have to be a certain height difference from your partner and you've got to be, but you know, you play to your strengths, and they've got long limbs, and if they make shapes with those long limbs, looks good. You know,
it doesn't matter. The teams can all be successful, whatever. Let's take a look at the freedance scores. 70.83 for Mael and Antonin, second in the freedance, with a total competition score of 113.76, and that will put them for the moment overall in the second place. There's a look at your top 5 teams so far in the competition as we get introduced to our next team from Spain, 17-year-old Athena Faith Roberts and 20-year-old Eric Ellis. Coached by Aaron Lowe, Megan Wing. And they will skate the free dance to Feeling Good by Escala.
Major dynamism for Athena, Faith Roberts and Eric Ellis from Spain. And I thought real good musicality and phrasing of the elements, Ted, throughout the free dance for the Spaniards.
Yeah, this was a nice, strong performance for this team. You know, it's early on in the season, and for the skill level that they're currently at, that was a good skate. I mean, lots of things to improve, of course, as the season goes on, but coming into this early stage competition, they have to be very pleased with that performance.
And whilst the skating skills, as with everybody, need to be honed, I thought that the composition and the, like I said, just phrasing, really mindful of the phrasing. And we look at the straight line left and a great entry into that. The hair so perilously close to Eric's blades there. They covered sufficient ice to make it a little close for comfort with the barrier at the top of the rink. Twizzles perfectly phrased on music as well. Actually, they didn't have a step in between. You need to have between 2 and 4 steps between the first and second twizzle. I'm not sure if they did that there.
They had
the choreo style.
Level 2 and a level 3 for those twizzles, so not sure what was missing. Here's the choreographic steps, of course.
And as we see the rotational lift, really impressive then to think that the coaching staff, Megan Wang and Aaron Lowe, Spaniard team here, they've got Canadians in the final group, Koreans competing last week. Great to see, you know, a Canadian husband and wife coaching staff supporting nations, ice dance nations from all over the globe.
Yeah, they've done a great job. They've really prepared their athletes. They're super fit. And they've had a pretty good season so far, and more to come, I think.
And Athena and Eric were 26th at World Juniors last season, so they'll have their eyes in qualifying for the free dance, that, you know, the next kind of step in their development. But the age that Eric's at, this would be their last junior season together, so they'd make the jump up to seniors for the 2024-2025 season.
It just takes remarkable commitment when you think about it from the athlete's perspective and the families to move halfway around the world or even in a large country like Canada or the United States, and to dedicate a great amount of time of your life to a passion and a pursuit. And it's not as if it's like you're going to university and getting a scholarship. It's a tough, well, sport is like that. It doesn't matter just about our sport. It's like that in many sports.
Absolutely, nor is there a clear defined timeline, because like your university degree might have a certain number of years which you know you're going to come out with a certain result.
Yeah.
For this, you know, the best ice dancers that we've seen, the ones that have had success at World Championships, 10 plus years together.
That's one of the things that bothers me a little bit about that. The sport of figure skating is very, very difficult, but you don't see universities involved where they would actually give a scholarship to figure skaters to go to the university and to compete. And I think that's sad. You get that in football and baseball and hockey and, you name it, but not in this sport. So when you invest in this, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but when you invest in this, there's not the same avenues as the university sports teams would have. Now, having said that, you're learning a trade, because getting as a coach, you do have a trade coming out of that. So that's also good.
And there, Aaron Lowe, in the kiss and cry, he's invested. He's got a master's, a PhD in his education as an Olympic ice dancer.
Incredible.
I've assigned that.
Here we go, 67.32. That is fourth in the free dance for Athena and Eric, with a total competition score of 113.70, and that will put them currently overall into third place at this stage of the competition. Look a little disappointed with those scores. Our next team comes from Canada. 18-year-old Savannah Martel, 21-year-old William Odson. Worked with Kim Weeks and Tyler Miles. Need a 72.25 to take over first place. And they'll skate to music from the Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones soundtrack for Savannah Martel and William Odson, and you can see storytelling up to the finished position, getting the Canadian fans on their feet.
And I thought that, especially the opening, was delicate and patient. They worked that choreography just perfectly to the music. It was kind of haunting in a way. The music was haunting, but so were they kind of. I thought it was really beautiful, and that was a good program for this team.
And I'm really pleased to see a clean skate for them. I thought they seemed a little deflated after the rhythm dance score, so good to see, you know, positive reaction and interaction between them both. It's a new partnership, and it would be their only junior year. So what positive experiences as we look at the start of the program.
So they took care, they took time to establish their relationship in this story. Woven into some of the elements. Really a nice, easy pickup, beautiful arch on that straight line lift. That is in level 4, of course, with a positive GOE. There's the little slide and the choreo steps. They were soft and lifted them beautifully. There's the twizzles. They're in at level 3 for both. So missing one feature.
Just a little check in the rotation there. That might have been the drop for William. But, you know, I was thinking as we watched the dance spin here, you know, I can understand when we look back to last year, I can see that the scores from the rhythm dance yesterday maybe weren't comparable with what they'd had with other partners, or I'm not sure what happened with them at Next Gen or in Canadian domestic events. But it's so hard to lose perspective and know you're representing your nation in Austria. You just want the athletes to, whilst they are competitive and want the best for the results, to be able to be in the moment and enjoy the fact that you're amazing, you're here representing your nation in Europe, go you.
And I kind of think they did that in this program. I hope they're satisfied with this, because I've watched them both at the Next Gen camp and in the rhythm dance here, and I'm going, this is the most calm and best performance that I've seen this team do. So perhaps hopefully they're getting some confidence out of this program. They've gained some mileage here, some experience, and they'll continue to improve and believe in themselves as they move forward. Let's take a look at the free dance score, 72.45. So that's second in the free dance. Pretty good score with a total competition score of 118.76 as they take over the lead at this stage of the competition. Well done. Well, Mark, there's an indication, the Linz Zamboni getting onto the ice as we take a look at the standings so far in this event. And you know what's coming up. It's video time. What's on the menu?
So a chance to see the mic'd up series again. So Valtteri, so if you haven't stayed tuned to watch it, you've got to. He's
hilarious.
Oh, such a character.
So that's great entertainment. And then to Marie-France Debreu, who is really one of the forefront coaches in the world of ice dance at the moment. You get a chance to see her being mic'd up when she watched the Canadian champions at Worlds last year. Then a Worlds promo for what will happen again back in Canada at the Montreal World Championships 2024, and then some shots of this beautiful city.
Well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the break. We'll be back right after this.
So, but where do you buy the shoes? The other one I like too. This one is too much to me.
Too much for you?
Yeah. È un ordine. Vieni su che stai con noi. Vieni, tranquillo. Sì, sì. Mi fa piacere, sì, sì, assolutamente sì. Per cui vai tranquillo come stamattina senza nessun problema. Mi fa, ma sei una superstar? Faccio, no, sono vecchio. Bend, ok, fast, and look crazy, dance. Okay, spend time to watch the judges on the ice. Bring them with you on the ice. Okay, make them dance. Okay, don't be boring. Okay, you are trained to do this one, you go like this. Guys. Bene così, capito? Tutto qua, è tutto qua, capito? Presente in ogni passo. Oh, Devi essere showman.
Sì, sì, lo farò.
Capito? Stai con lei però. Stai con lei. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Come on! Meno 6 punti e vediamo quanto prendiamo. Con la caduta e tutto saranno 10.
Cioè il secondo e il terzo qual siamo giocati?
No?
Siamo alle equip.
Third place. It's ok. Gli devi dare il mio numero di telefono. He has everything.
He has everything? Oh, you're lazy. You need to give it to me.
I am the assistant of the assistant, and he is my assistant. It's a long line.
Tiens-toi. Plie. Let go, babe. Et hop. Laisse aller. Reste avec elle. That's it. Avec elle. Reste en bas. 2, 3. Et... Danse. C'est pas grave. Danse. No worries. Tiens-toi. Jambes, tiens-toi. Jambes. Et eyes. Et solide. Et tac. C'était pas mal, mais ils sont battus. With the rev more in the lift, they still made the twizzles. Like, he was strong here, very strong. Testament to their training.
Yes, it is.
Good job, guys. Good job. See how trained you are? Super smart. Was it fun? Your first final?
Yeah.
How was that?
Like any competition, once the music starts.
Let's go. Bouton automatique. It's a short competition, eh?
Oh my God, it's like, and when you skate first, you know, it's like, pattern more out long instead of.
Yeah. No, man. Okay, you stayed strong.
Welcome back to Linz, Austria. Group number 3 in the free dance taking to the ice for their warm-up. This is the final day of competition, the first event. The men's free program will follow this event a little bit later today. Mark Henry joining me from Nottingham. Mark?
Yeah, really excited to see this group as well. The first team on the ice, I think the youngest team in the group, and they were just magnificent in the rhythm dance.
Yeah, there's something special. There's no question of that. And, you know, whether or not they're missing an element, not an element, but a feature or this or that, whatever the technical score is, that'll get improved in time. But when it comes to dance, the top teams always have a little bit of magic in the seniors, or maybe a lot of magic, right? And that's just something that hard to teach it, or impossible to teach magic. You can develop it. And this team, that young team, has a little bit of magic, and we hope we'll see that in the free program.
And it's been interesting to see, Ted, so far. I'm not sure now, based on what I'm seeing already in the warm-up here, but I sensed in the first two groups that because the ice dancers were forced to choose music from the 80s, I sensed in the rhythm dance it tends to be a bit more upbeat, a bit more dancey. So far, we've seen free dance music choices that are a little bit more emotive, a little bit more heavy and dark, perhaps, on the flip side of what they chose in the rhythm dance. So it'll be interesting to see if that remains constant. Already you can sense that from the Americans on the screen now, just intensity in their movements suggesting something a little bit more emotional.
And there is Inspector Hanratty again at work, just doing an investigation, and it's very true. I hadn't thought about that, but with such an upbeat theme for the rhythm dance, each team wanting to show a contrast, and so you know, wouldn't probably repeat something. Well, we might get that here, but we'll see.
Yeah. And obviously there's no stipulation that there should be a contrast for the couples between rhythm dance and free dance, but it looks, again, now as we look at the young French team, you sense there's youthful movement in what they've chosen, and that's the perfect choice perhaps for them.
Now, let me ask you a question. What do you think? This is a young team, smaller team, and you can see, so would you, I don't know how to voice this properly, I don't know how to phrase it properly, is there a difference between the maturity of a young team and the maturity of an older team? And I don't mean seniors. I don't mean seniors. An older team here. What's the difference? Do you look at it and say, well, these are really young kids? And, you know, is it equal?
Well, it's a really good point, because I think it was perhaps yesterday in the rhythm dance when I saw Dania and Tio, the French team, who I think are just 13 years and 14 years old. And then I think they were not long after the Swiss team, Letterman and Emo, who were, you know, the tall, long-limbed, 18, 19-year-old university students. And it's a challenge for the judges to make the comparison, you know, in this competitive world between them, because they look so different. They're so different in their maturity. But that's when the judges have to really cling on to the rule book and really, you know, go with, well, who you know, subscribes to what they've asked for in the ISU communications for points, and doesn't just go on, oh wow, you know, it's easy to look at these youngsters now and think, oh my goodness, they're twizzling so fast, and oh, you know, they look not cute, that's not the right word, but they look great for their tender age, and not to be influenced by that when it comes to giving the components or the grades of execution.
That's a very, very good point. Stick to the rules, follow those rules, and put your scores in according to each one of the required elements or grade of execution features. Just stick to that and let it sort itself out in the math.
Yeah, and I mean, as I've said before, I don't coach regularly throughout the year, but whenever I am coaching, I think that from the ice dancers is what they've got to cling to. So often you would hear maybe, oh, you know, judges in ice dance, it's more subjective because it's a little bit more artistic perhaps than the single skaters or the pair skaters, but the criteria is clear. The charts, I've got them in front of me now, the positive features that they've got to get for the GOE or the criteria for skating skills, composition and presentation. Stick to that. That's hard and fast, and if you work towards that, you're going to eventually come up good.
Okay, so then you answered my question. If after all that, I can summarize it.
Yeah, you need to be my.
No, it doesn't matter whether they're 13 and 14 or they're an older team with taller or whatever. The assessment is the same. They're using the same chart, so it'll all come out in the wash in the math, and so it doesn't. But you had mentioned the effect of that. Wow, look at this young team type of thing. And really, in the judging process of that, they're so focused on each one of the details, it doesn't impact it like it used to in the old system.
Yeah, and I suppose what we as fans of the sport see, and when you see a youngster that's showing huge potential. It's exciting at the prospect of, well, what's to come from that? If they're that good at this tender age, what could we see from them? What's the future got? That's exciting, but that doesn't change scores. It's just exciting.
Okay, Inspector Hanratty's take on that topic. So, very interesting topic, and well said, Mark. Thank you for that. As we get going, and group number 3 in the free dance, and it's what's coming up. It's a variety show. Well, here's this team we were just talking about, or mentioning anyways, from France, 13-year-old Dania Moeden and 14-year-old Tio Bijot. They're coached and choreographed by Barbara Piton. And they were pretty special in the rhythm dance. They were 7th in that event. They needed 64.98 to take the lead at this point in the competition. And here we go.
Dania Moeden and Tio Bijot from France, just 13 and 14 years old, and looking not the slightest out of breath as they conclude their 3.5-minute free dance.
Boy, the quickness of their movement, the crispness, and right to the music as well. There's just, I don't know, that's just innate in them or just been trained in them. Either way, pretty spectacular.
Yeah, skating journalist Nora Bruckner was telling me she'd seen Theo back in 2018 and knew already, star in the making. So we're seeing them now in the Junior Grand Prix, but so many years behind this debut in Junior Grand Prix to get to this quality as we see the straight line lift, smiles on their faces despite the difficulty of what they're doing. Interesting stationary lift level 3, similar features to that which we've seen from some other couples and similar level achieved. So the technical panel not happy with something there. It was interesting that they chose, as we see their twizzles, to do the choreo step on the diagonal. That's something that couples can do this year now. The choreo step can be done in a different pattern than previously, provided that then their step style B is a different pattern to that. So interesting to see them working with the new rules. Just struggling with the third twizzle there a little bit for Theo in terms of the use of the blade, but nevertheless.
Yeah, I don't know whether the choreographed steps on a diagonal is as effective, but it's different, and so you're showing, you're having your own strategy built in there. But this team is full of life and bright and exciting to watch, no question. But it's a long journey, and they're very young.
Yeah, so true. And what I love to see now is that they will have worked to be this good, this young. They'll have worked so hard. It'll be intense training, but the joy is still evident. The reaction between the couple when they finish, the congratulations to one another, the laugh between the coach now, their longtime coach. Good vibes in here.
And you can see the fun they have. Just the smiles. I mean, every team has fun. There's no question. But this is, like, at the moment, a complete thrill for this team. Now, their journey might be very long, and they'll get, sort of. The sensation of that might dull out a little bit, in years to come. Yeah. But at this moment, full of life, full of energy, full of talent. 78.31. That's first in the free dance for Dania and Tio. And a total competition score of 132.10 as they take over the lead at this point in the competition. Well done. Bright future. Lots of fun to watch. Our next team comes from the United States. 17-year-old Carolyn and 19-year-old Brendan Mullen. First Junior Grand Prix season. They're 8th after the rhythm dance. And they're going to need 81.63 to take the lead. And they'll skate the free dance to Survivor.
Really impressive, very complex free dance from Caroline Mullen and Brendan Mullen, the brother and sister team.
Really have a fresh look and a fresh feel to this team. Still early on in their international competitive careers, but a really nice start.
Just really impressive, and we've talked about the partnership and the connection, obviously a brother and sister team, and I read an article, Ted, that suggested that it came naturally to them to skate together. Obviously a really close brother and sister bond, as we see the rocker turn within the 1 foot, good ice coverage. The technical panel have not dished out many levels within the 1 foot, but their ice coverage there will have enhanced the skating skills component. Glorious extension from Caroline in the straight line lift, pointed toes throughout, and a great entry into the twizzles here. And the transition again. So the couples, unlike in the rhythm dance, able to connect if they want to between the first and second, and what complexity they chose to intersperse the twizzles. They have competed a lot domestically. Ted, they did the Chesapeake Open, they did the Lake Placid Ice Dance International, and they scored 89.89 at that event in upstate New York. And they were quite close to the brother and sister team of Iryna and Ethan, who we'll see in this event later on. So they'll be wanting to be considered in contention with the other American team here, who, to be fair, they were showcasing great camaraderie when they were supporting the other women and pairs in the competition.
I don't know who's cutting these replays for you, but it's just seamless when you're just going through them. That's really nice. You're gonna have to do next week. You're gonna have to talk and do this replays. That's great. Really great analysis there, Mark. Let's take a look at the scores for Caroline and Brendan. 84.82, good score. That's first in the free dance. Total competition score 135.30, and that put Caroline and Brendan Mullen of the United States at the moment into first place. Our next team comes from France. Amber Perrier, Giacini, and Samuel Blanc Klapperman, both 16 years of age. 80.27, they'll need that to take over the lead. The personal best is 70.25, so they're going to have to really bring it to the ice in this free program.
Wow, well, I'm not sure what the story behind the free dance for Ombre Perrier, Giacini and Samuel Blanc Clapperman from France was, but I am here for that skating skill. The depth of the knees, just really, really impressive. And a circular step sequence that filled the entire ring.
Yeah, they had really wonderful qualities in this, and you got caught up when you're really good skaters and you really have strong technique. The moves that you make get connected to the music, the phrasing of the music, a lot easier. And this team was as if they were being instructed or constructed by the phrasing of the music. It was just beautiful.
And here, the little mistake in the twizzles for Samuel. He's such a good skater. His knee action is just mesmeric. This was the circular step sequence there, back chalked up for Samuel. And you can see how much ice covers they had, nearly reaching the short barrier. There, the rocker turn.
And look at the acceleration on every step, the softness of every edge. And they were a little wobbly here and there, just little things. Yeah. So it wasn't perfect for them. But if you break it down to take a look at their abilities and their technique, superb.
And, Olivier Schoenfelder is listed as coach, and he himself, you can really see the influence of his own skating on them, and what a privilege for them, I'm sure, to get to see the demonstrations. It's wonderful to be able to learn visually from a coach that can still demonstrate great quality.
Yeah, I thought they stood out much more in this free dance than they did in the rhythm dance, for me anyways, personally.
Yeah, completely agree, and tapping into the maturity that they have.
81.49 for the free dance. That is second, with a total competition score of 136.53 as they take over the lead overall at this stage of the competition. Nice, beautiful. And you can see how close it is between first and second. Wow, really close. Our next team comes from Ukraine. Iryna and Artem Koval, 14 and 19 years of age, 86.77 their personal best. They'll need an 82.14 to take the lead.
Ukraine's Iryna and Artem Koval. And Ted, I want to know, who have they been working with and how long did those lifts take to materialize? Both the straight line and the choreo lift at the end. Some great originality and difficulty.
Yeah, it's difficult. You would think that every lift has already been done somewhere in towns, but you keep seeing sort of variations, maybe mistakes sometimes, I don't know. But yeah, it's a lot of the teams work with circus entertainers and acrobats and whatnot.
Although that doesn't necessarily get, most of these teams will be getting level 4, I'd love to see the grades of execution go up for the originality that they showcased, as we see the twizzles and the speed, both in these, the twizzles, and in the rotation lift, such fast twitch, such engaged energy.
I noticed that myself, especially on those twizzles. Here's that, look at that lift is just sort of tying a knot and then untying a knot.
I'm thinking, what happened there? I need to see that more and more and more.
Yeah, it was really nicely done.
This is the kind of crucial thing on the technical element score, the steps in the 1 foot. Most of the couples so far just getting level 1. That will separate the medals, I think, those that will be able to push towards level 2s and level 3s. Here, choreo character step, and you wonder, obviously there was a rock and roll vibe and a Robbie Williams vibe. Not sure what the rationale behind the third piece of music not being Robbie Williams as well, but certainly it gave a powerful ending for the team.
It's hard with rock and roll. I mean, how tidy can it be? Because it's got to be edgy, and so if it's edgy, it sometimes can get sloppy, right? It's not easy, the mixture of music. It's so important, of course, and this is early on in the season. I think everyone's performance is going to continue to improve. No question.
Yeah. And they live and train now in Austria with their coach, but proudly waving the Ukrainian flag. They've been in Oberstdorf at the Ice Dance ISU camp as well, so busy bees.
Well, 81.17 for Iryna and Artem. That's third in the free dance with a total competition score of 135.57. That will put them overall, at least for the moment, into second place. And there is the top 5 teams so far in the event, with the final 4 about to take to the ice for their for the 5-minute warm-up, I believe. And I saw this practice a little earlier today. Some terrific performances. I mean, I hope they perform well as we take a look at Group 4, the skating order. And there's some really outstanding, fun pieces that we'll see in just the next few minutes.
Yeah, and close scores for the first 3 competitors in the group. Also, there's been some brilliance from Caroline and Brendan Mullen, the French teams. Some really great stuff already in this competition.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty strong, fairly deep level here in week 2 on the Junior Grand Prix in the ice dance, and which is great to see, because the teams it sort of gets a little closer. And as I mentioned in the opening here, I think between 2nd and 7th there is less than 3 points, or just 3 points. So that is a very tight competition.
Yeah, and I remember last year the junior ice dance competition on the circuit was just so amazing. We started with Hannah Lim and Ye Kwan from Korea, the first event, and then Mrazkova Mrazek breaking world junior records. I don't know if this is clear a standout this year, but deep field, really deep. Whoa. I don't know what it is, Ted. You'd think that because I was an ice dancer that I would be more at peace and comfortable with watching these warm-ups.
No, it's because you know how dramatic you all get in the warm-up when you're not watching around. That's why you get nervous watching.
Yeah, it's like PTSD. My anxiety levels just ramped back up to when I was out there.
This is a beautiful program that the Peals have.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. I wondered when I first saw it, and when I first saw the costumes this morning, and I was just completely mesmerized as watching them weave their way through this program to this haunting, beautiful, majestical music. There are the leaders. Good 6-point lead coming into the free dance with Daria Grimm and Mikhail Savitsky of Germany. And they have to be the favorites coming out of last year into this season.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It doesn't make a change, the costume, the hair, because there is nothing in the criteria set out by the ISU regarding better hair, better costume gets more points. But I've not seen their new free dance, and yet I get a sense already for what it is based on the way that they've presented themselves.
Are you talking about Dania and Mikhail, or?
Yeah, with the kind of tango-esque hair and the dress and setting the scene already.
And we're looking at Ashley and Alt from Great Britain. They were so wonderful this morning in the practice session, and I was thought, wow, has this team ever improved? They were electric, and she is a bright light in regards to the performance. So, hopefully they can keep that standard here in the free dance. So we'll see. And there, as we take a look at the Canadians, Chloe Newan and Brendan Jiang, and this is their first season together, not even a year yet. And they've had some good success at the Next Gen camp. They're sitting second after the rhythm dance, although it's very tight between second and seventh, as they said. They'll have to have a good skate to stay on the podium. Okay, Mark, you're quiet. What's going on?
Like, what happened? Where is he?
I know. Silence for a second. I mean, people are probably they're probably getting a breather. Oh my God, this guy's finally shut up. That's good.
Yeah. Like, enough already.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know. Oh, we have fun. I mean, that's the problem, is that we yap on. But at least we don't talk during the performance. That's good.
It's just, I'm really interested when I see a team like this, Dania and Mikhail. That was a brilliant transition out of the dance spin. To see how their coaches, the choreographers, motivate a team. We've obviously talked, particularly in the women's event, about the age changes that have been established, or in the process of being established, for entry into seniors. A team like Dania and Mikhail, they are again doing the junior circuit. They're at least their perhaps fourth year on the junior circuit, and they've had great success 2 seasons ago. Fell short because they couldn't compete junior worlds last year. They will have had to be motivated so much. I don't think the Peals need any extra help with the motivation, though.
Oh, but they need a little help in the stands now. I mean, they're missing her, right?
Look, Wang taking on the mantle, I think.
Yeah, just really so much respect for what goes on behind the scenes. And there we see the Canadians and Canadian coaches. You can see there, Canadian coaches, ice dance coaches to the left of the screen, they're chatting, they're dissecting, they're sharing, because everybody here at this Junior Grand Prix, their life is skating.
Yeah.
To be at this level, it can't be anything less than that. It's a complete life commitment.
And here we go. So I really enjoyed the practice sessions this morning. I hope we get the same type of performances here in the competition as we see some intensity and some, complicated handshake there. So
that's becoming an increasing theme for that team. I think it develops year on year.
Yeah. Well, our next team comes from Great Britain. 14-year-old Ashley Slater and 16-year-old Alt Perez. Second Junior Grand Prix season. And they've got something special, no question. Improved a lot since last year. So about 8.96, their personal best. They're going to skate to 5:1:15 hours. St. James Infirmary and Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis.
Ashley Slater and Atal Perez from Great Britain.
You know, I have to say that, you know, I was so impressed with them in practice. I think they struggled a little bit in this free dance, just a little bit off balance. They worked really hard to not show that, and maybe I missed it. I don't know, but I thought they struggled just a little bit in some of the portions. I don't know. How did you feel, Mark?
Just seeing the interaction between the two, they're just such joyous young humans, and just seeing their reaction as they're greeted by Candice. I suspect you're right that it wasn't the optimal skate for the team, but you've seen it, we've seen it. They have talent, they have potential.
Oh, yeah.
And the future is so bright.
No question. It was just brilliant this morning. And I think, you know, a little bit of nerves here. They've made such great improvement and much more to come, no question. And I'm not being critical, I'm being more or less analytical here. They skated well, but had a few little struggles here and there.
But it's just great that you can voice, you've seen that practice and know, you know, how great they are. And for me, as we see the choreo slide, love the ice coverage through that. That will have pushed the GOE up. Is that this is Great Britain has had success as we look at the twizzles, which were really well done actually late in the program. I love that. But yeah. Britain has had success with the Kerrs, Coombs and Buckland. More recently, we were having success with Lila and Lewis and another junior team last year. This team trains in the UK, and all those other successful teams from Great Britain have gone to North America or gone abroad to train. Total respect to Ashley Atal and the team behind them for managing to create this quality in a homegrown way, and the result of that will impact upon the others that they skate around and hopefully elevate standards at home as well.
Yeah, I love this team, and I love the energy, and I love the improvement they've made, and wish them all the best as they move forward. They've only got good things ahead of them, that's for sure. And I'd be interested to know, you know, what they felt about this performance compared to, because maybe I'm reading it wrong. I don't know, but and I don't see bad at all. They were still brilliant, but they were
Hedwig again.
They skated free this morning. What is that? Okay,
they're stuffy. That comes with them everywhere, I think.
84.89, so that's good. They take over first place in the free dance with a 140.00. I evidently know nothing. That's for sure. It's absolutely true. Great job. Take over the lead.
Amazing result for the Brits. Really well deserved.
Well, our next team comes from the United States, third after the rhythm dance, Iryna Peal and Ethan Peal from the U.S. And they're coached by their dad, Robert Peal, 83.46. They'll need that to take over the lead, 85.32, their personal best from last season. They'll skate to the music from The Lord of the Rings.
Well, Iryna Peal and Ethan Peal, the brother and sister team from the United States of America, they've entertained us off the ice and on the ice. And great to see them skate cleanly here in Linz.
What are your thoughts on the piece? I mean, I love that music, love the movie, of course, as well. And when you pick something that iconic, what are you bringing to the ice? I loved it.
And well, Ethan had explained that they love to tell a cohesive story through their skating, and they thought that the Lord of the Rings was a great forum through which they could do that. And they're reading the books, they're going to rewatch the films as their dad greets them off the ice. And I think, this obviously two very expressive humans who really tap into characterization.
Look at the depth of edge here and the body positions, the little hand details, the nuances. It's just really magical to the music and set the stage for the rest of the program.
And both of these skaters, as we look at the straight line lift, started on the ice at 1 year old. Their dad, a competitive ice dancer, was skating in their blood and in their being.
They didn't have a chance. That was going to be it for them.
Yeah.
Beautiful combination lift, that straight line into rotational. Here are the twizzles. Nice and close.
Yeah, you can see
just a level 2, just a level 2 and a level 3, so missing 3 features in fact.
Perhaps the tech panel just establishing a couple of check turns. But in some ways, for the team, of course, they want to come away from here with ideally at least the silver, and they had the second highest components in the rhythm dance for a chance of getting to the Junior Grand Prix final. But when you have a low, as you talk about the report card, I love that term, the report card, if the levels are low in the twizzles, that's a fairly easy fix. So whatever the score is here, she needs Ethan, come on, read the memo. There we go.
So let's get that arm up there. She's amazing. She's sort of this dramatic piece, and then you get her off the ice and it's pure entertainment. She's just hilarious.
Well, she was almost more reserved on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. Full of life. Let's take a look at the scores. 86.28 for Iryna and Ethan Peal. That's first of the free dance. Total competition score 142.83. So they have a medal. They're sitting in first right now. 2 teams to come. So mission accomplished on that. What color will the medal be? We'll find out. Here we go. Leaders by 6 points, 16-year-old Dario Grimm and 20-year-old Mikhail Savitsky of Germany first after their rhythm dance. They just need an 80.19 to take the lead. They have a 98.37, their personal best. So skate to Habanera.
Well, the complexity and the transitional content, so much of that needs to be re-looked at, to be appreciated, because Dania and Michael Savitsky from Germany have obviously worked extremely hard in the off-season to create so much novelty.
There were so many details that I wanted to. I was going to keep just pushing the button to get the replays
Yes.
to point out the nuances, but I'd get in trouble. I know, because we got to keep the replays, relatively short, because we can't run past the timing of the judges for sure. So there was so much in there, and to see it, just incredible. You kind of want to see it again and go through the detail. Such crispness. So we take a look at what an entry, a lift, and
so hard.
right into the twizzles. Incredible.
And then as it continued, this transition, for her to then change direction into the right forward outside. The right forward outside twizzle's hard enough. Never mind with all of that content before it.
And there's sorry, go ahead.
Well, this too, almost so many of the elements you could keep reviewing to appreciate, but you just sense that as we see this straight line lift, that the disappointment of not being able to complete Junior Worlds this year has fueled the off-season. Like, how much is going on here? So much. What I would say is that the program, because it's so complex, has loads of room for improvement. Mikhail has acknowledged that he's been really quite unwell for the 2 weeks prior to this, so it weakened a little bit towards the end. The clarity of movement, the extension commitment, a little bit weak, but that's possibly because he's been ill, possibly because it's so blooming hard what they've done.
I fully agree. It's just sort of like, it's a new shoe that doesn't fit perfectly yet. It's just going to take a little breaking in. They're a little bit soft, not as crisp on some of the notes that they will hit, or we did see actually in practice. So this is just normal. Great program, great team, great future.
And I actually think Dania has really developed as well. Both really strong, but I feel like this year she has really matured as well. And I loved seeing them when one of the other couples was competing. They were walking after the warm-up, hand in hand, just readying themselves, and they looked so united as a team. And that, at this young age, they're obviously very focused on supporting one another towards success.
This young man's also a broadcaster. He covered the Obersurf competition last year. 91.68, that's first for Dania and Mikhail. A little shake of the head on that. Thought it'd be a little higher. Total competition score 154.33. They are clearly in the lead with one team to come. And there are the standings. With our final team on the ice. From Canada, 18-year-old Chloe Newan, 20-year-old Brendan Jiang. This is their first season together. They haven't even skated for a year together. They're second in the rhythm dance, but it's tight for third. And we'll see if they can skate a clean program. They need a 97.62 to take the lead. The skating to seeing is believing. Aspects, and love changes everything.
Chloe Nguyen and Brendan Jiang from Canada doing an incredible job to find themselves in second place after the rhythm dance and in and amongst the top group of teams who are so much more seasoned and experienced than them. This is scarcely credible they're a new team.
Yeah, they skated really well in this performance. There's no question for where they're at as a team. Two great performances, both in the rhythm dance and the free dance. Will be enough to retain and stay in that medal position? We'll find out in just a few moments, but couldn't ask for much more as we take a look at some of the elements in the program.
Yeah, they should be incredibly proud to have accomplished what they've done in such a short space. And I think good job mouthed by Aaron Lowe as we see the 1 foot section. There, the right inside bracket. The bracket the most difficult to get called in the 1 foot, the twizzle the easiest.
Missing just one.
In the straight line.
Missing one feature on this straight line lift. And the twizzles are all good, both at level 4 for both. Positive GOE of 1.46, so they're earning 8.30 just with this one element.
And I suppose we've seen as we look at the rotational lift now, we saw so many teams earlier on in the competition who were new as partnerships. This obviously a new partnership, but what helped them to find themselves in this position after the rhythm dance and will keep them up in contention after the free dance is their fundamental skating skills, so they come from a very solid individual place.
So not going to reach that 97.62 for the lead, but second place is 86.12, so they'll need to beat that score to retain the silver medal. Third place is 83.29, so we'll see what their total will be if they get a medal. What color will it be? We'll find out right now. Free program score 88.03. That's second in the free dance. They've got the silver medal. You can see a little reaction by Yerevan going, yes, got it. 144.75. He's had a good 2 weeks. The Korean team that he teaches got the bronze in Bangkok, silver here in Linz. Great job as we take a look at the top 5. Congratulations. Not easy skating last after Grimm and Savitsky, and they kept it together. That's for sure. Big smiles in the kiss and cries. We're going to take a look at the final standings here. There it is. Daria and Mikhail, 154.33. Chloe and Brenda from Canada, 144.75. Iryna and Ethan, Theo, 142.83. Your top 3 teams, your medalists. And there is a look at the rest of the field in this competition. Now, just going to do a check here on. Up next is going to be the men's free program at 13:05 local time here in Linz. That's 13:05. You won't want to miss that. Some great skaters in the final event of week 2 on the Junior Grand Prix. That concludes our coverage of the free dance for all of us here at the ISU. And for Mark Hanratty, I'm Ted Barton. Thank you for watching. Make sure you join us in just a little while for the men's free.